And you're listening to the Ask the Experts radio show on Talk Radio 1190. I'm John Wolf. Our number here, if you have any plumbing questions or any networking questions, 214-787-1190. We're here with Roger Wakefield and Chaz Wilson. Roger Wakefield of Texas Green Plumbing. TexasGreenPlumbing.com is their great website. The phone number for them at any time, 972-442-4101. And I say at any time because sometimes plumbing problems happen when it's not 9 to 5. Just like people always say when they have an air conditioning problem, why does it always happen when it's 100 degrees? Because that's when the stress is on. Tell me, Roger, what in particular, if you were to name the top thing that Master Networks, Chaz Wilson's Master Networks, has done to help your business grow, where could you look back and say, this really made a difference, this introduced me to this person?
Well, we've already talked about the training, which helps me as a person, helps me grow as a company. But it's the relationships. Master Networks, and guys, there's a lot of other networking groups around. I can name a couple of them that are all three or both have three initials. And I've been to them, and they are so about the company, the referrals, the ROI, so about every single thing, detailed and picky. And I went to a big recruiting thing at one of them, and I literally asked the guy, I said, okay, so look, I'm on the way up. And this is a national director who came in to do a big recruiting. I mean, there's probably 300 people in the room. And so I waited in line and I asked him a question. I said, okay, so if I'm on the way to a meeting and your mother calls and her water heater ruptures and I turn left and go to her house to save her thousands of dollars to stop the water, that's an absence. And a month later I come and your aunt calls and I turn right and I go to her house and save her thousands of dollars, that's two absences. With what you just said, you can kick me out. And he says, yeah. I said, okay, this isn't a group for me. I said, because I'm all about my customers and helping them. Master Networks is about the relationships. I can call the president of my chapter right now and say, hey, look, I've got a problem. I can't come for a month. And they'll say, okay, come back next month. We understand that. It's about taking care of the people. We don't just network together. We build friendships. We build relationships. My wife and I went and had dinner with another couple last week. And it's all about building relationships. And that's the biggest thing we do. When I tell you about somebody and I refer them, they're a friend of mine. They're not just somebody that I met and I have their business card. And to me, that's huge.
That almost sounded like a biblical parable or something. If I'm on my way there, if one sheep leaves the flock,
you got to get them all. We look out for each other. Exactly.
Go get it. And it really does sound like so much of a glue factor that you're people dealing with people before you're just, I need a plumber, I need a mechanic. The relationship itself is much more deep set. Roots are planted, and you meet some great people.
You know, and I'll turn this over to Chaz, but I mean, it's not just networking. It's not just getting to know a roofer or a plumber or an accountant. It's getting to know a person and know what that person does and what that person is like and hang out with them.
Yeah, it's getting to know people. I mean, I always say you're only one relationship away from changing your future. You don't know where you're going to meet that person, what that person might do to help you change your future, but knowing people and building a network is so powerful. I think sometimes we forget, I don't know the exact year, 2007 to 2010-ish, right? I mean, what happened? We had this recession. We had a market recession across the country. You know, just like you said, at 2 a.m. is not the time to try to figure out who your plumber is.
Absolutely.
When the recession comes is not the time to try to figure out who your network is. People call me all the time, hey, do you know so-and-so, or do you know somebody that can help me with this? Do you know somebody that can help me with that? And I do. I have a person by name that knows me because I've built those relationships. That is so powerful. I mean, when I own rental property and when I need I still own those in Minnesota. When I need somebody, I have people who are in Master Networks back in Minnesota that I know that I can call, and they're going to take my call. They know me by name. We know each other, and they're going to go out and help me with whatever I need. Those are powerful things. And I just believe, and this is no doomsday thing, I just think that whether it's a personal recession in your own life or a market recession that's going to show up, you'd better have a network. You better have a group of people that can rally behind you. I mean, listen, I not only talk about networking, I'm in a chapter myself. When we moved here, I jumped into a chapter. Why? Because I need to know local people, local entrepreneurs that are the backbone that can help me when I need something and I can help them. And we just had a gentleman in our chapter who showed up to the chapter meeting. We found out 2 days prior his house burned down and he was there. And, I kind of said, listen, it doesn't really matter if we follow the training today. What we need to do is talk about how do we help you? So we raised some money. He's a photographer, so he set up a photo shoot. It was great. He has such a sense of humor. He's like, I got the hottest photos in town, right? I'm having a fire sale, he says, right?
Pretty funny.
And so we set up a photo shoot for him, and we drove as many people as we could to that event to help him, not just give him a handout, but a hand up. Like, how do we help you? That's the power of a network. I don't know when that's going to show up for each of us in our life or when it's going to show up for you, but you want to have those people in your life when that shows up, and that's the power of a network.
And it's not just the reach out factor when you need help here or there, but the trust factor. 'Cause I know, for instance, I mentioned I was doing a car repair for myself. Actually, I met a guy in outside who I did not know, and I said, "Does anybody know anything? Could you look at this engine with me, just in case you know something I don't?" Guy ended up doing 85% of the work. I felt embarrassed. I'm standing there, and he's like, "Hand me this, hand me that." Never met him before, and. But the next day, I still had the dummy light on, and I said, I got to get this taken care of. I've got to be here Saturday. I've got to do this, got to do that. And I went to a big national chain place, and I really expected them to come out and say, hey, we found this other problem. Because I know my car, it's old. It's got some other problems. And it's going to be $600. They come out, they go, your thermostat was fine. And you just forgot to bleed the air out of the system when you put the water housing on. And I thought, oh, my God, I did forget to do that. And I said, yeah, but are you sure the thermostat? And it's located in an odd place. You sure that's fine? Did he really check it? He goes, no, he didn't really check it, but it'll cost you over $200 to check it. So it's up to you. He said, if it was me, I would just wait and see if the light comes back on before taking part of your engine apart to check the thermostat, and it's been fine. But it was a level of trust I didn't expect. But I know that I'll go back there because they treated me a lot better than frankly than I expected, even from someone who's relatively honest. So having someone, it gives you some peace of mind too. And Roger comes in here with different guests, and he's not just all about Roger, even though it's his show, his segment once a month. And I'm going to cry. Chaz, what made you think it would be great to come on the radio here?
Well, first of all, this is the power of relationships. I've been traveling. I travel the country and visit every the networking groups. And Roger reached out and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you on this show." I mean, I get a lot of requests to do that, and I know Roger. And listen, he's done a lot for our organization. And I said to him, like, how can I help you on this, right? Mm-hmm. This is a relationship. This is what we're building. Everything in my life that I have of significance, everything has come through relationships, not marketing ideas, it's all relationships. And so when Roger asked if I could help, I'm glad to, because he's helped me in other things. And not even just because of that, it's just because we're friends and we've built that relationship. And so, and I have a passion to help entrepreneurs. I just believe that entrepreneurs are the backbone of this economy, local entrepreneurs. Even the national brands, they're run by local people. Mm-hmm. And I want to support local business. I don't think there's enough champions of local business, and that's what we do.
And you mentioned that because Roger is a plumber, that you have different wings within Master Networks. So you couldn't have another plumber in that wing, but you have other branches, so to say, within the local networks. How many do you have?
Yeah, so we have 34 chapters just in the North Dallas area. We're expanding into Fort Worth, pretty much anywhere in the Metroplex, Dallas, Fort Worth. If you are a business owner, you want to start a business, this is the group to be with. You meet people like Roger and others that are out here genuinely trying to help others. I mean, think about Roger. I don't know how many times you're at a home doing a plumbing job and they somehow in conversation something else comes up and you have somebody you can refer to them. And
it happens. You hear them talking, they're like, oh my God, I've got to go find a lawyer or something. It's like, well, what kind of lawyer? A real estate lawyer. Well, you know what? I happen to know one. Mm-hmm. And like you said, with there being 32 chapters around, and Master Networks is set up really good for the members. I can literally get in and look for an accountant and look for an accountant in this area. If I know a friend in Minnesota, I can look for an accountant in Minnesota. And this is a nationwide group, and it's not just here. And there may not be chapters everywhere, but if you want to start a chapter, talk to Chaz, and you may be starting up your own chapter in your own
He'll be there.
area of the United States. Exactly.
Well, what you're saying is, you have the Craig's list and the Angie's list and all these lists. You need to have your own list.
Yeah.
And Roger needs to be on your list.
Well, there's a lot of people need to be on that list.
There you go. And I have not given out Chaz's phone number for Master Networks. The easy thing to remember, of course, is masternetworks.com if you're driving along. But 972-294-5740 is his number, 972-294-5740. And we've got one more segment, but I just wanted to ask Roger, if you were sitting at home right now and you saw something that had been bothering you about your house, some sort of drip, how frequently is it okay to hear in like your toilet tank a little drip without freaking out and calling someone to come out and get a service call? And any kind of ballpark on that?
If you're hearing a toilet tank and you're not flushing it, there's a problem with it. It's running, it's costing you money, it's leaking water, it's doing whatever it does. But yeah, anytime you hear your plumbing system and you're not using it, sometimes people have slab leaks, and that's how they find out about it. All of a sudden, they're like, look, I hear water running in the wall, and I don't know what it is.
You could turn up the radio, and then you wouldn't hear
Turn it up really loud, and you won't hear it anymore.
We're talking with Roger Wakefield of TexasGreenPlumbing.com, and I'm John Wolf on Ask the Experts radio show on Talk Radio 1190.